Imagine stumbling into a cave deep underground and finding a cricket the size of your hand staring back at you, or a salamander that looks like a pale ghost, with legs stretching longer than your arm. You would probably think you just discovered some kind of mutant freak show, but here's the thing. These creatures are not accidents. They are the result of something way more disturbing. Caves do not just hide animals, they transform them, and the longer something lives in total darkness, the weirder it gets. This is cave gigantism, a twisted evolutionary game that turns normal creatures into oversized nightmares, and it is happening right now in caves all over the world. Stick around because we are about to meet some of the most bizarre monsters evolution has ever created, and trust me, the deeper we go, the stranger it gets. So why does this even happen? You would think living in a cave with almost no food and zero sunlight would make animals smaller, not bigger. But evolution had other plans. See, caves are one of the most stable environments on Earth. The temperature barely changes. There are no seasons, no storms, no predators hunting you from above. It is like nature hit the pause button. And when that happens, all the normal rules get thrown out. Let's start with one of the most shocking examples, the Taiwanese giant cave cricket. In the outside world, crickets are tiny, maybe an inch long if you are being generous. But this thing is over 4 inches long, with legs that could wrap around your wrist. It looks like something that crawled out of a science fiction movie. And it is not alone. Cave crickets all over the world are way bigger than their surface cousins. So what is going on? It all comes down to energy. On the surface, animals are constantly burning calories to stay warm, run from predators, or hunt for food. But in a cave, none of that matters. The temperature is always the same, there is no one chasing you, and food is so scarce that you have to be as efficient as possible. So instead of staying small and fast, evolution pushes you to get bigger and slower. A larger body stores more energy, it can survive longer without eating, and in a place where meals are rare, that is the difference between life and death. But here is where it gets even creepier. These giant crickets are not just bigger, they are also blind. Total darkness makes eyes useless, so over millions of years their eyes disappeared. Now they navigate using insanely long antennae that sense vibrations and chemicals in the air. They have basically become living sensors, and because they do not waste energy on vision, they can funnel all that extra fuel into growing massive bodies. Now let us talk about something even more disturbing. Cave salamanders. On the surface, salamanders are cute little lizards that hang out near ponds, but underground, they turn into something out of a horror film. Meet the earthworm. This creature lives in the caves of Slovenia and Croatia, and it looks like a pale white snake with tiny legs. It can grow over 1 foot long, and it is completely blind. But that is not the wildest part. The earthworm can live for over 100 years. That is longer than most humans. It can go an entire decade without eating, 10 years without food. How is that even possible? It is all about metabolism. In the cold, stable darkness of a cave, the earthworm's body runs in extreme slow motion. Its heart barely beats. Its cells burn almost no energy. It is like it is in a state of suspended animation. And because it is so big, it has massive fat reserves that can keep it alive through years of scarcity. Starvation. This is cave gigantism at its most extreme. The earthworm did not just adapt to the dark. It became a master of survival in the most brutal environment imaginable. But it is not just crickets and salamanders. Even spiders get the gigantism treatment. Cave-dwelling Huntsman spiders in places like Laos can have leg spans over 5 inches across. That is bigger than your face. And unlike normal spiders that rely on webs, these spiders are active hunters. They stalk prey in pitch-black darkness using vibrations alone. Their size gives them an advantage because they can overpower almost anything else living in the cave. And since there are no birds or lizards to eat them, they just keep getting bigger. Now here is the part that will really mess with your head. Not every cave creature gets bigger. Some get smaller. This is called cave dwarfism, and it is just as strange. Certain fish and insects actually shrink when they move into caves. Why? Because in some caves the food supply is so limited that being small is the only way to survive. A tiny body needs fewer calories. You can squeeze into tighter spaces to find food, and you can reproduce faster. So while many cave animals are turning into giants, a few are doing the exact opposite. Evolution does not care about being consistent. It only cares about what works. But let's get back to the monsters, because there is one cave creature that embodies cave gigantism more than most. The cave huntsman spider. This might be the freakiest of all, the giant cave centipede. These animals live in caves across Asia and South America, and they can grow over 1 foot long. They have dozens of legs, venomous fangs, and they move fast, like really fast. Even in total darkness, they can hunt down crickets, beetles, and even bats. Yes, bats. These centipedes are so aggressive that they will climb cave walls, hang from the ceiling, and snatch flying bats right out of the air. That is not just gigantism, that is nightmare fuel. So what is making these centipedes so huge? The same rules as before, a stable environment, slow metabolism, and no predators. But there is another factor at play: oxygen. In some deep caves, oxygen levels are actually higher than on the surface because of how air flows through underground tunnels. More oxygen means cells can grow bigger, and for invertebrates like centipedes, that is a game changer. They do not have lungs. They breathe through tiny holes in their exoskeleton. So when there is more oxygen in the air, their bodies can support way more mass. It is like giving them a biological cheat code. And here is the kicker: this is not just happening now, it has been happening for millions of years. Some of these cave species have been living underground for so long that they have completely lost the ability to survive on the surface. Bring a giant cave cricket into sunlight and it will die within hours. Its body cannot handle the heat and light of the surface or the drying out that comes with it. Temperature swings. Its pale skin has no protection from ultraviolet rays. It is literally trapped in the dark forever. These creatures have crossed a point of no return. They are not just adapted to caves, they are prisoners of them. But why does this matter? Because caves are like time capsules. They show us what happens when evolution is left alone for millions of years, with zero interference, no humans, no climate change, no invasive species, just pure survival of the fittest. And what we are seeing is that when you remove all the chaos of the outside world, life does not stay the same. It gets weird. Really weird. And it is not just about size. Cave animals also lose color. Almost every creature that has been underground for long enough turns ghostly white or translucent. Why? Because making pigment costs energy. And in a place where every calorie counts, your body will ditch anything it does not need. So you end up with these pale, alien-looking monsters that seem like they belong on another planet. But they are right here, under our feet. Now let us talk about the absolute king of cave gigantism. The giant Gippsland earthworm. This creature lives in the caves and wet soil of Australia, and it can grow over 10 feet long. That is longer than most snakes. It is the largest earthworm on Earth, and it sounds like a wet slap when it moves through mud. People have reported hearing it from above ground. Imagine walking through a forest and hearing something that big squirming beneath you. Terrifying. But here is what makes it even stranger. This worm is almost impossible to find. It spends its entire life underground in total darkness. It only comes to the surface when heavy rain floods its tunnels. And because it is so rare, scientists still do not fully understand how it got so big. The theory is the same: a stable environment, a slow metabolism, and no predators. And in the deep, wet soil of Australia, there is plenty of decaying plant matter to eat. So it just kept growing and growing and growing. But not all cave giants are harmless. Some are straight up dangerous. The giant cave cockroach found in Central America can grow over 3 inches long, and it is covered in spines. It is also one of the few cockroaches that can actually bite hard enough to break human skin. And because it is nocturnal and lives in caves, you would never see it coming. Thankfully, they are not aggressive unless provoked. But still, the idea of a cockroach that big lurking in the dark is enough to make anyone think twice about spelunking. So what happens if we bring these creatures into the light? Would they shrink back down, or would they just die? The answer is probably death. These animals have spent millions of years fine-tuning their bodies for one specific environment. Their metabolism is too slow for the surface. Their bodies are too specialized to cope with the heat, the light, and the variable food supply, and they would likely die. Their skin is too thin. Their eyes are gone. They have burned every bridge back to the outside world. And that is what makes them so fragile. Caves might seem like fortresses, but they are also prisons. And if anything disrupts that delicate balance, these giants are done for. Climate change is already starting to affect cave ecosystems. Warmer temperatures are changing airflow patterns. Droughts are drying up underground water sources. And pollution is seeping into places that have been untouched for millennia. If those caves collapse or flood or warm up too much, the creatures inside will not adapt. They will just go extinct, and we will lose some of the weirdest, most alien life forms on the planet. So yeah, caves do not just hide animals, they remake them. They take ordinary creatures and turn them into oversized, slow-motion monsters that look like they belong in a science fiction novel. And the craziest part? We have probably only discovered a fraction of them. There are thousands of unexplored caves all over the world, and who knows what is down there? Maybe something even bigger, even stranger, even more terrifying. Thanks for watching.